Good morning, welcome to the Light of Deception. Today I wanted to give you a brief overview of what's going on in the site so you know. So all of the videos that are already been put out into YouTube are going to be upgraded eventually, but in the meantime I took about a 2 weeks hiatus, and I'm going to be pressing forward with what God has given me already, and then as the people that are offered with to help with sound and lighting and different things to help out the site, maybe a PowerPoint in the background, so charts and those kind of things will be happening soon. But in the meantime, I'm going to press forward in the isms related to deception. So I want to tell you what an ism is, and just a definition of an ism, and that is a distinctive practice, system, or philosophy, typically a political ideology or an artistic movement. So there you go. That's what an ism is, and that's why there's just so many isms out there. Also, I was going to talk about Catholicism this week, but I think what I'm going to do is backtrack just a little bit into talking about Kabbala. I think that would be the really one that needs a standalone. So I'll be looking at Kabbala and defining what Kabbala is. And a lot of you are like, might be thinking Kabbala is related to Judaism, the mysticism within the Jewish faith. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up so we can start looking at that aspect of mysticism. So we're under the isms related to mysticism right now. We've gone over socialism, Marxism, communism. We'll be going through mysticism and then back to globalism. That way we're looking at a kind of a bigger picture. We'll be visiting the Christian isms and talking a little bit, and always finishing really with what is biblical ism, the literal translation of the Word of God. So here we go. So let's go to Kabbala. We talked about Buddhism and Hinduism last time. We gave the definition of the what mysticism is and what meditation is. We'll be talking about enlightenment, spirituality, new age practices, and we'll come back around to talk about how all these things work together, and that's why there's they can find a interfaith dialogue through mysticism and in a world and global I would say activity where the world can work together to usher in some kind of global utopia. So we're going to be talking about how that works and how the globalist, some billionaires, I'm not saying everybody that has money out there has this global plan, but many of them do, where they're going to take dominion, world dominion, right? So these religions will come together in this global utopia and everybody will link hands, but for how long? Because there's the religions some of them want dominion of the earth, right? So they're actually called to do that. So there might be a time where people are saying peace, 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 but destruction is on the horizon. So here we go. What is Kabbala as related to Judaism? It's a Hebrew tradition, also spelled with a capital K's, C's, double B's. So esoteric Jewish mysticism as it appeared in the 12th and the following centuries. Kabbala has always been essentially an oral tradition in the initiation into the doctrine, and practice is conducted by a personal guide to avoid the dangers inherent in mystical experiences. Esoteric Kabbala is also tradition in as much as it lays claim to the sacred knowledge of the unwritten Torah, divine revelation, that was communicated by God to Moses and Adam. Though observance of the law of Moses remains the basic tenet of Judaism, Kabbala provided a means of approaching God differently. It thus gave Judaism a religious dimension whose mystical approaches to God were viewed by some as dangerously pantheistic, pantheistic, and heretical. This goes on, so go on to the site under mysticisms, mystic isms, and you can read down. It's going to talk about the early roots of Kabbala, and it's going to talk about the major texts in early Kabbala in the following centuries. So go ahead and go onto the site, continue reading. I'm doing just kind of an overview of what Kabbala is. And if you think about it, it really sounds much like it does Gnosticism. We've already covered that. Gave you the definition of Gnosticism, ancient mysticism. So they all seem to kind of have the same thread running through them, this extra divine, powerful, tapping into the inner God or your inner divinity aspect. So it does call people together because you start thinking that you're reaching a heightened level of understanding, that you have arrived at some kind of spiritual awakening. So this way these religions can come together and they can start to have a common ground where there was no common ground before, because their texts are not going to be the same. The texts are going to be different. They have different gods. Some of them have many gods. Some of them worship a triune God, or a triune God would be one God as well. But so we're going to be looking at all these aspects of how these world religions that were all in different paths at one time are all coming together and ushering in the Antichrist kingdom together with or without knowledge. Leading them would be the globalist and the people that are atheistic. They want to get rid of the biblical Christianity, conservative capitalism, those kind of things, and have world dominion. So it's not socialism, Marxism, communism, and all that's all threads too, leading to world domination. So I pray that you look at all these isms and it helps you stay out of the light of deception. Thank you. Until next time.